Join me as I take on the challenge of embracing complete silence for 24 hours to see if it really unlocks the secret to success. You ever notice how the loudest people are usually the ones doing the least? They walk in a room and gotta announce themselves like they're the second coming. They talk over everybody, post their every move, act like they're on a reality show. And when you step back and really pay attention, you realize they're running in place. All that noise, all that attention, and still stuck in the same spot they were in last year. That's the world we live in right now. Everybody chasing claps. Everybody wants followers. Everybody wants their name in lights, even if they ain't done the work to earn it. But let me tell you something from experience. Real success don't make noise. Growth doesn't need an audience. Elevation doesn't require validation. Think about a seed, a tiny little thing buried in the dirt. Nobody's clapping for that seed. Nobody sees what's happening underground, but it's pushing, it's stretching, it's breaking through its own shell, it's growing roots, it's preparing to rise, and all that's happening in silence. No fanfare, no spotlight, but eventually that seed breaks the surface, becomes something beautiful, something powerful, and all of a sudden people say, "Wow, where did that come from?" They don't see the grind. They only see the glow. That's what real focus looks like. You do the work when nobody's watching. You keep your head down, your spirit up, and your mouth closed. There's something powerful about moving in silence. It's not about hiding, it's about protecting. When you're building something great, you don't leave it open to every opinion, every comment, every negative word. That dream you have, that vision inside you. That's yours, it's sacred, and the moment you throw it out there for the world to see too early, you invite people to tear it down. Some folks won't even mean harm, they just won't understand. They'll project their fears onto you. Tell you it can't be done. Laugh at the size of your ambition. And if you ain't careful, you'll start shrinking your dream to make it digestible for small-minded people. You'll water it down to make it safe. But nothing great ever came from playing it safe. That's why I tell people, focus on yourself. Don't worry about proving nothing to nobody. Don't let your life become a performance. You're not here to entertain people with your progress. You're here to build something real, something lasting. Every minute you spend explaining yourself, every second you spend defending your choices, that's time and energy you could have used to move forward. And let's be real, the people who love you don't need an explanation. And the people who doubt you ain't gonna believe it anyway, even if you give them one. So what's the point? You ever wonder why some people are so obsessed with being seen? Why they need to post every win, every step, every meal, every vacation? It's because deep down, they haven't found peace in their own presence. They need the applause because they haven't clapped for themselves yet. But you don't need that. You can be your own motivation. You can wake up every day and say, I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm further than I was. That's power, that's confidence, that's maturity. When you really start focusing on yourself, something shifts. You stop getting caught up in petty arguments. You stop worrying about who said what. You stop chasing people who don't see your worth. You start investing in yourself, your health, your mind, your hustle. You start setting boundaries. You start saying no without guilt. You start choosing peace over drama. And the more you do that, the quieter your world becomes. Not because it's empty, but because it's full of the right things. Clarity, purpose, direction. Now don't get me wrong. The silence ain't always easy, especially when you know you've got something to say. Especially when people are doubting you, lying on your name, underestimating your strength. You want to speak up. You want to prove them wrong. But here's what you gotta understand. Silence isn't weakness. Silence is strategy. There's a reason chess players don't talk during the game. They let the moves speak. And that's what you gotta do. Let your life be your answer. Let your results be your voice. Let your success be your proof. I've learned that you don't have to show people what you're doing. You just have to show up when it's done. Let them think you're lazy. Let them think you fell off. Let them think you gave up. While they're talking, you're planning. While they're laughing, you're grinding. While they're sleeping, you're leveling up. And when it's time, when it's really time, you won't have to say a word. They'll see it. They'll feel it. They'll know it. One of the hardest lessons in life is realizing that not everyone deserves access to your journey. Some people are just spectators. They don't want to see you win, they want to be entertained by your struggle. They don't support you, they spy on you. That's why silence is your shield. It keeps you from giving energy to the wrong places. It keeps your mind sharp, your heart safe, your mission clear. You don't need to argue with fools. You don't need to explain your hustle to people who aren't even working on themselves. You don't need to justify your decisions to people who couldn't walk a mile in your shoes. Focus on yourself, stay in your lane, build your empire brick by brick, even if nobody claps. Because in the end, the people who matter will respect your grind, not your noise. You know what's funny. When you finally start leveling up, when the blessings start coming in, when the work starts paying off, when your silence turns into success, those same people who were laughing, ignoring, doubting you, they'll come back around. They'll act like they believed in you the whole time. They'll say, "I always knew you'd make it." Let them talk. You ain't gotta correct them. You ain't gotta remind them. Just smile. Because the truth is, your journey wasn't about proving them wrong. It was about proving to yourself that you could do it without them. And I promise you, there is nothing more satisfying than knowing you kept going when nobody believed in you. That you stayed consistent when nobody was watching. That you stayed silent not because you had nothing to say, but because you had something powerful to build. That's strength. That's focus. That's discipline. Discipline is doing the work even when motivation is gone. Focus is keeping your eyes on your goals, not on what everybody else is doing. And silence is where God speaks. Silence is where the vision grows. Silence is where you learn who you are without the noise. That's where the foundation is built. That's where your character is tested. And when you come out of that season, when you step into your light, nobody will be able to deny it. So stop looking for approval, stop explaining your journey, stop shouting your goals, just do the work. Let them wonder, let them talk, let them watch. Your focus is your power, your silence is your weapon. And your future, that's your answer. Every doubt, every hater, every setback, it all becomes fuel. Use it, turn it into fire, and let that fire light the path to the life you were born to live. You don't owe the world your updates. You owe yourself your transformation. Focus on yourself. Stay silent, stay grounded, stay hungry, because when it's your time, you won't have to say a word. Your life will speak volumes. Now I know silence ain't easy. I know that fire inside you wants to speak. You want to correct people when they twist your story. You want to stand up and say, "That's not who I am." You want to explain why you move the way you move, why you made the choices you did, why your life don't look like theirs. But let me tell you something that'll set you free. You don't owe them that. You don't owe anyone an explanation for healing. You don't owe anyone a press release when you decide to grow. You don't need to defend your grind to people who weren't with you in the dark when you were praying for daylight. The most powerful move you can make is to keep moving quietly, confidently, and without apology. When they throw shade, you plant seeds. When they gossip, you grind. When they assume, you advance. Let them talk. Let them misjudge you. Let them write you off. Every time someone puts a period on your life, pick up the pen and write the next sentence. You're not finished, you're just focused, and focus, real focus, demands silence. You see, silence is not the absence of strength. Silence is the presence of mastery. It means you've got control over yourself. It means you've got vision. It means you understand that noise doesn't build empires, work does. Strategy does. Consistency does. It's easy to be loud when you have nothing to lose. But when you're building something that matters, something real, something lasting, you don't throw it around for attention. You guard it. You protect it. You let it grow behind closed doors. And let me tell you this, not everyone will understand your silence. Some people will mistake it for weakness. They'll think you've lost your edge. They'll think you're scared. They'll think you've backed down. But the truth is, you've just leveled up. You've learned that every response doesn't deserve your energy. You've learned that not everything needs a reaction. You've learned that the higher you go, the quieter you must become. You see, people love to argue with the old version of you. The version that used to fight back, used to explain, used to defend everything. But when you outgrow that, they can't reach you anymore. Their drama can't touch you. Their negativity doesn't stick. Their gossip dies in silence. That's the power of maturity. You become unbothered, not because you don't care, but because you care too much about your peace to let nonsense rent space in your mind. And I know how it feels to be misunderstood. I know how it feels to be doubted by the people who should have clapped the loudest. I know how hard it is to watch people support the loud ones, the fake ones, the ones who look the part but don't do the work. But listen to me, you weren't built for their applause, you were built for purpose, and purpose doesn't need a crowd. It just needs consistency, faith, and silence. You ever notice how lions don't roar when they hunt? They stalk in silence, they move with focus. They don't need to announce their presence, they let their power speak when the time is right. That's how you move when you know who you are. You don't chase validation. You don't argue with noise. You just keep showing up day after day, doing the work, becoming better, becoming sharper. That's how legacies are built, not in the volume of your voice, but in the strength of your actions. And let's be honest, there are going to be days when silence feels lonely, when you wonder if the grind is worth it, when you question if anyone even sees what you're doing, but that's when you remind yourself why you started. You didn't come this far for attention. You came this far because you believed there was more for you. Because you knew deep in your bones that your life wasn't meant to be average. And that kind of life. It requires separation. It requires sacrifice. It requires seasons of silence where you disappear, elevate, and come back unrecognizable. You don't need to explain the journey. You just need to walk it. You don't need to prove your worth. You just need to live it. Because the real ones, the ones who truly matter, will see you not because you shouted, but because your light is undeniable. The world respects those who rise without noise, who win without clapping for themselves, who elevate without throwing dirt on others. That's class, that's character, that's king level discipline. And while you're walking this path focused, silent, intentional, you're going to start seeing things different. People you used to chase, you'll outgrow them. Circles you used to fit in, they'll feel too small. Conversations you used to enjoy, they'll start feeling empty. That's not arrogance, that's alignment. You're not better than anyone else, but you're becoming better than who you were, and that deserves your full attention. One of the most important things you'll ever learn is this: not everyone gets to go with you. Not because they are bad, not because you hate them, but because they're not built for where you're going. And sometimes the silence isn't just about focusing on you, it's about letting go of everything that distracts you from you. You can't carry everyone, you can't explain everything, you just gotta trust that your path will make sense in time. You don't need to post every win, you don't need to go live with your struggles, you don't need to let the world into your process. There's something sacred about privacy, something powerful about protecting what's still growing. When you silence the outside world, you hear the inner one more clearly. That voice that says, keep going. That whisper that says, you're almost there. That instinct that says, this is the way. Trust it, trust yourself, trust the silence, because one day, that silence is going to erupt in a sound so loud that nobody can ignore it. The sound of dreams realized, the sound of blessings breaking through. The sound of victory, and it'll be real, not forced, not fake, not filtered, but earned. That's the kind of success that lasts, the kind that silence built, the kind that needs no introduction. And when it happens, when they ask how you did it, all you'll have to say is, I focused. I stayed silent. I stayed faithful. You're not behind. You're just not loud. You're not invisible. You're just working in silence. And one day, that silence will become your story, a story of discipline, a story of vision, a story of grace. Don't rush the ending. Don't skip the struggle. Embrace the silence. Respect the journey. Because the person you're becoming is worth the wait, and the world will know your name when it's time. Keep building, keep believing, keep moving, and above all, keep your focus on you. Because in the silence, you are being shaped into something unstoppable. And when that moment comes, and it will, you won't have to say a word. Your life will do the talking. Your success will be the loudest thing in the room, and you'll realize the silence was never empty. It was full of everything you needed to become exactly who you were meant to be. So here's the truth: the world may not clap for you today. They may not see the grind, the late nights, the sacrifices, the prayers you whisper when nobody's around. They may never understand why you walk alone, why you keep your head down, why you speak less and move more, but that's okay, because your life was never meant to be a performance, it was meant to be a transformation. You don't need to be loud to be powerful. You don't need to explain your growth to people who haven't grown, and you sure don't need to shrink your greatness just to fit inside someone else's comfort zone. Stay silent not because you're hiding, but because you're rising. Stay focused not because you're afraid, but because you're chosen. And when the time is right, when the work is done, when the vision becomes reality, you won't have to announce it. The world will look up, stunned, and say, "Where did this come from?" And you'll just smile, because you already knew, you focused, you stayed silent, you built something no one could take from you. And now you are the storm that silence created.